Hi. Hello. Just a quick word about the shelf life of dry foods. There's nothing but gray area practically on this topic, and you'll find people disagreeing on a lot of things, but there's so many variables that it's hard to put any hard and fast rule down. You will see on most of your products that you purchase from the store, best if used by date. Unless it's kept in extreme conditions, you're likely to be plenty safe within that date. Now, how far you can go beyond that date depends on a number of things. It depends on the kind of item you have. If it has a high fat content, it's just going to decrease the shelf life. The temperature it's kept at, the light conditions, how much light it's exposed to, and the humidity will affect your product. When you talk about the container, and we showed a paper bag of sugar earlier that had become hard. And by the way, you can use that for umpteen things. You can use it for syrups and canning fruit. You can make pancake syrup out of it. You can chisel it off and use it for almost anything. So unless it's contaminated, it should still be good. A product kept in a paper bag or in a cardboard box, of course, will have the least protection, and the same thing applies with the sugar. We talked about with the sugar. The better your container, the better your storage conditions are going to be. Beyond that, there's just a lot of variables beyond the conditions and the container. There's a lot of other variables: how much fat content, the humidity, the temperature, all those things add into it. But there's other things that add into it, and what I have found over the last 40 plus years is that, generally speaking, dry food items that are not kept in extreme temperatures are good for much, much longer than the date on the package. I gave an example before of an add water only brownie mix, so it had all the egg and fat and everything in it, that I had kept. I said it was 9 years, but I'm mistaken. It was actually about, well, I guess at the time that was about 9 years. I used it after 9 or 10 years, and it was kept in basement temperatures, and that actually was kept in a paper bag. It may have had a plastic liner to it, but it basically was a paper bag, same kind of conditions as your brownie mixes that you buy in the box from the store, and it was just fine. It didn't smell bad, it didn't taste bad, and we had no adverse effects from it. And I have talked to people who have used things for quite unbelievable periods of time. I had a friend that kept the add water only potato pearls in just a regular plastic jar with a lid on top, regular plastic lid, not sealed with oxygen absorbers or anything else. And she used those with great results for 9 years. So there's a lot of variables to that. I know that there was some scare a while back about pancake mix having gotten moldy in a box. That was when I read about it, that was some pretty extreme storage conditions. Not a lot of people are going to be likely to encounter that, in my opinion. It's just my opinion. So be aware and be safe, but until I have something in better condition, newer and fresher, I don't get rid of what I do have, and have had pretty good results all the way around. Like I stated about the sugar, I'm using sugar now that I stored in a regular plastic container. It was not even completely airtight, and it's a little lumpy, but it can be broken up, and I've been using that for cookies and muffins with no problem at all. So take it with a grain of salt. Take it with a grain of salt. Those dates on your packages, you might be able to exceed them by several years. Uh, use caution, be wise, make inspired choices, try to do what's right. But I personally don't throw things away until I have something better to replace it with. And we've had really good results with all those things. Another thing that you might want to consider is your baking mixes. I should do this in a separate video, but I'll just throw it in here. Your baking mixes can sometimes be extended. Like I used to take muffin mixes and I'd add a little more milk and a little more flour and possibly a little bit more soda to them, and had just really good results with that as well. Add water only mixes are really nice to have so that you don't have to pull out your stored egg and your stored butter powder or what have you to make up the mix. So that's about all I know. It's a great thing to know that you have things on the shelf that you can use if you need to. And God bless your efforts, and goodbye.